They thought the river was just water, but it remembered. It remembered every secret, every betrayal, every broken promise. And now, it has returned to demand the truth. The morning began with a sky unlike any the people of Kintaba had ever seen. It was not the gold of sunrise, nor the soft blue of dawn, but a deep, smoldering clay red that seemed to press down on the earth itself. The air was heavy, it tasted faintly of iron, and though the wind brushed through the palms, it carried the scent of rain that never came. The river Ndoro wound like a silver ribbon through the kingdom's heart, its waters glistening in every season. It had been their lifeblood for generations, feeding the fields, quenching the people, giving the land its rare beauty. But that morning, the current slowed. Fishermen raised their heads. Women drawing water found their pots heavier than they should be, as though the river resisted their hands. By afternoon, the flow had stopped altogether, the surface still as glass. And in that glass, the people saw something impossible, not the world above, but visions from long ago. Battles, burning huts, faces long dead. That night, Queen Sefu stood at her balcony, staring at the motionless water. She could not name the feeling that crawled into her chest, but it felt like the first tremor before the ground breaks. The next morning, the queen was summoned to the Temple of Stone, a place older than her dynasty, carved deep into the mountainside. Inside, shadows clung to the walls. Sunlight came only in thin shafts, falling through cracks in the roof. And at the center stood a clay urn, its surface blackened with pitch, sealed for 100 years. The eldest elder's voice shook as he told her of Queen Amale, the first to drink from the river Ndoro. When drought had threatened to turn the land to dust, Amale had stood at the river's edge and called to its spirit. It promised endless water and fertile soil, but for a price, something precious, something given without hesitation. But there was a law. So long as the ruler's heart remained free of betrayal, the gift would endure. If betrayal touched the throne, the river would no longer carry water, but truth. When Sifu left the temple, the urn's shadow seemed longer than it should have been, as though it reached after her. The river began to show more, not just shapes, moments. A mother watching her son steal from a neighbor's storehouse. A merchant seeing his partner make secret deals. A husband seeing his wife in another man's arms. The river did not judge, it only revealed, but the people judged. Friends turned away from one another, doors closed early each night, laughter faded to whispers. One evening, Queen Sifu came to the water alone. Her reflection was clear as glass, until it shifted. She saw her father, the late king, kneeling before a veiled figure at the river's edge. A hand touched his brow, and his hair turned white in an instant. Then the vision sank into darkness, and a crown disappeared beneath the waves. That night she dreamed of a voice calling her name from below. When she awoke, her sheets were damp. The kingdom began to tear itself apart. Markets emptied, families split, trust was gone. The queen returned to the Temple of Stone, demanding answers, and the elder told her the truth. Queen Amalie had promised her firstborn child to the river spirit. a child who would live beneath the waters, watching over the land. But Amelie broke her oath. She hid the child, lied to the spirit. Bound by its own rules, the spirit let the river flow, but swore to take its due, no matter how long it took. The debt had never been paid. On the third night of the red moon, the first child vanished, gone from the palace gardens without a sound. The next morning, the river revealed her face, eyes wide, hair drifting like grass. By week's end, more had vanished, always near water. Panic gripped the land. Some tried to drain the river, their tools rotted in their hands. Others offered gold, grain, carved idols. The current was unmoved. Seifu ordered the urn unsealed. Inside, a crown of reeds and black stone, damp as though freshly pulled from the riverbed. And then the voice came, not heard but felt, return what was taken. On the night of the red moon, Seifu came alone to the riverbank. She wore no crown, only the reed circlet in her hands. The water parted without a sound, revealing stone steps spiraling down. She descended, each step colder than the last. The surface of the river above her fading into darkness. At the bottom, a cavern, lit by a pale, shifting glow. There were the lost children, suspended in water as if asleep. At their center, one who was not a child, but ageless, the firstborn of Queen Amalie. From the depths, the river spirit rose, vast, formless, older than kings. It spoke of the oath, the lie, the debt, and it gave Seifu a choice. Take her place as the river's watcher, or let the kingdom fall. At dawn, the river flowed again. The children were returned, untouched but forever changed. But Queen Seifu was gone. On the bank lay the reed crown, dripping water that never dried. Some said, if you dared look too deep into the river, you would see her face, calm, watching. The kingdom thrived again, but no one forgot the day the river remembered. And on nights when the moon turned red, the water stilled to glass, reflecting not the stars, but the eyes of the queen, who gave herself so her people might live. Never break a promise. It is better not to promise than to make a promise and break it. If you learned something from this video, share it with us in the comment section below. Till we meet again.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you in our next video.